Today we're diving into the incredible world of The Simpsons. You know, that show that has predicted, well, almost everything. From Trump becoming president to Disney buying Fox, they've seen it all coming. But hold on, because the very latest predictions from The Simpsons are just mind-blowing and a bit scary, to be honest. For example, they're said to have predicted the Apple Vision Pro and even Ivory Coast's victory. We're going to break down these predictions together, see what they mean for our future, and wonder how on earth they always get it right. So, let's go for a rundown of the craziest Simpsons predictions. Stay until the end, you won't believe your eyes. When we first saw The Simpsons wearing futuristic helmets over their eyes, we didn't understand what they were, because we didn't know that one day these helmets would really be a part of our everyday life. Yes, the latest prediction that has come true is the launch of the Apple Vision Pro. And it was only years later that we realized it was a prediction and not just a Simpsons joke. The first time we saw the Apple Vision Pro in The Simpsons was in 2016, 8 years ago, in an episode called Friends and Family. In this episode, the animated sitcom by Mr. Groening indirectly announced the launch of the Apple Vision Pro because, in that episode, the Simpson family was testing a virtual headset created by Mr. Burns. All the characters in Springfield end up having access to the technology. A montage shows Homer and Marge virtually kissing in their bed, Principal Skinner having a virtual picnic, and Bartender Moe bumping into a lamppost. This montage is eerily similar to some videos posted on social networks, especially on X, where, for example, a man wearing the headset crosses a road in California, hands in the air, and apparently touching digital objects. What is astonishing in this prediction is that the episode shows with striking accuracy the features of the device as if it already existed at that time. And even worse, what people will look like wearing it, as if they had jumped into the future. We're stepping it up with another striking prediction from The Simpsons. We go back to 2007, where an episode of the animated series showed the town of Springfield completely enclosed in a giant glass dome after the sea exposed the area to horribly toxic pollution levels. It's worth noting that not too long ago, we were all forced to stay confined at home because of the COVID pandemic. While some think that this dome is a reference to us all being forced to stay indoors, others are still waiting for the climate disaster that will truly force us to live inside a giant glass dome. Here's hoping that this dome and the apocalyptic events that come with it are something that the show's creator, Matt Groening, and his colleagues got wrong, unlike other times. In episode 12 of season 10, called Homer to the Max, there's a global power outage caused by an overload of the electrical grid. In the episode, Homer buys a generator and becomes a local hero when the power goes out. This might seem like a typical satirical scenario, but it worries some news buffs because there's been a recent spike in electricity demand worldwide, which strains old power grids and could inevitably lead to a grid overload. It seems like this prediction is coming true before our eyes. Additionally, extreme weather events and cyber attacks could also weaken electrical infrastructures. If the situation doesn't improve, the predictions of The Simpsons might actually come to pass, resulting in a major global power outage. Needless to say, the consequences would be devastating for economies and societies, affecting transport, communication, emergency services, and food supply. Well, to reassure some, the cause of the outage in the episode is different. It happens because Homer overloads the grid. We try to find comfort where we can. Considering the current situation in the Middle East, they were right when, in the Lisa Sachs episode from season 9, they hinted at a supposed war resulting from the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. To give you some context, that episode showed a conflict between Springfield and Shelbyville, which some conspiracy theory fans might interpret as a metaphor for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The two towns are neighbors with a long history of rivalry. The conflict is fueled by disagreements over territorial and religious issues. But that's not the only time The Simpsons have referenced Israel. In the Homer Goes to Heaven episode from season 4, Homer visits heaven and hell. There, he meets a group of people who are constantly fighting. This scene could also be seen as depicting the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And finally, in the Mayor Quimby episode from season 7, Homer becomes the mayor of Springfield and quickly makes decisions that divide the town and lead to protests and riots. This could also represent the challenges of governance in a region plagued by conflict. It is also quite frequent that the Israeli flag is prominently displayed, whether through characters, religions, or even objects like here when the Israeli plane lands. The question is, why Israel and not another country? It is indeed very strange. If you're just now hearing about artificial intelligence, The Simpsons predicted it years ago. In the episode The Personal Assistant, episode 10 of season 23 of our favorite show, we see Lisa befriend an AI named LisaBot. This AI quickly becomes smarter than Lisa and starts taking over her life. What's striking is that today, AI development is speeding up. AI is advancing rapidly with increasingly sophisticated applications in various fields, so much so that one might wonder if it will one day surpass human intelligence. Some experts are sounding the alarm, pointing out a potential risk that AI could become so powerful that it escapes human control. And what's most alarming is that LisaBot in the show is a humanoid AI with physical and cognitive abilities far beyond today's AIs, which means it could get even worse than in The Simpsons. What do you think? This time, we're moving on to a much less cheerful prediction. The Simpsons have struck again, predicting the tragic loss of the submarine Titan years before it happened. It's another strange coincidence that adds to the long list of the wildest predictions by America's Yellow family. As the whole world was anxiously waiting, racing against time to find the Titan lost at the bottom of the ocean, some Simpsons fans were stunned when they remembered that famous 2006 episode that had predicted the exact same event, and the similarities are terrifyingly chilling. In this episode, discovered by fans, Homer Simpson and his father go on a submarine treasure hunt near the Titanic wreck. The story takes a tragic turn when Homer gets stuck in the submarine and runs out of oxygen, but in the end, he manages to escape and ends up in the hospital. They probably changed the ending of the story. Otherwise, it would have been too obvious. Note that a former writer for The Simpsons once took part in submarine expeditions with Gate and shared that losing contact with the ship is common during such trips. I mainly think he subtly explains the striking resemblance between this episode and reality by stating that his personal experience inspired the script, even though the reality is quite different. We're talking about episode 17 of the 11th season of The Simpsons, Bart to the Future. During her inauguration, Bart's sister wears a blue outfit and a pearl necklace that looks a lot like the one Kamala Harris wore at her own inauguration as vice president in 2021. Besides the similarity in their outfits, there's another striking similarity with reality, which is in the political role of the character. In the episode, Lisa is president, and in reality, Kamala Harris is vice president. Both are women who hold significant positions of power in the United States. It's no coincidence that they chose Lisa for this role and not another character. Since they predicted a third world war in the near future in the famous episode Bart to the Future, where Lisa becomes the first female president of the United States, we see one of her challenges is an international crisis with Russia that could lead to nuclear war. You might be aware that the world currently faces many geopolitical tensions, including between the United States, Russia, China, and other countries. What's worrying is that the risk of nuclear war, although low, is not non-existent. Perhaps we should take this seriously this time, even though the episode shows a very exaggerated situation with dramatic and unlikely events. For a bit of trivia, Bart to the Future aired in 1999, a few months before the start of the Second Chechen War, leading some viewers to believe the episode predicted that conflict. Another strange coincidence between the Simpson family and the world we live in today. This time, it's about science. According to physicist and science journalist Simon Singh, the famous character Homer Simpson almost got the exact mass of the God particle right in an episode from 1998. This particle, known as the Higgs boson, is more famously linked to Homer's love for donuts than his math skills. In the episode called The Last Invention of Homer, he nearly found the exact mass of the Higgs boson, 14 years before CERN officially announced this major discovery on July 4, 2012. This was revealed by the British newspaper The Independent in an interview with Simon Singh, who wrote a book about the Simpsons and their math secrets. Singh says if you do the math from the equation on the blackboard, you get a mass slightly larger, at 775 GeV, than the current mass of the boson, which is 125 GeV. Singh compared this equation to the formula used to calculate the mass of the Higgs boson. You don't have to understand everything I just said, but isn't it crazy that this prediction happened 14 years before the discovery? That Homer's equation is formally similar to the Higgs boson formula, and that the approximate mass calculated by Homer is close to the actual mass of the Higgs boson. I can believe Homer has a lot of talent, but I didn't know he was a scientist. There's also an interesting story that ends with this little joke from The Simpsons about Cypress Hill in the episode Homerpalooza, the 24th episode of the 7th season. Homer organizes a music festival and hires several bands, including Cypress Hill. During their performance, Homer interrupts the band by asking if they have iced tea. Some people took this joke as a nod to the use of illegal substances, specifically one associated with the band. It's no longer a secret, everyone knows what I'm referring to. In a 2015 interview with Rolling Stone magazine, the band confirmed that the joke was indeed a reference to that. The rapper Beal said that the creators of The Simpsons had contacted them beforehand to make sure they were okay with the joke and saw no issue with it. The singers agreed and admitted they found the joke subtle and very funny. Personally, I think they weren't completely clear-headed when they agreed to it. Moreover, Cypress Hill's confirmation added a new layer to the joke, highlighting the creators' subtle humor and knowledge of pop culture.